For 25 long years, Victor Harrington lived like a man made of glass, untouchable, distant, and cold, despite being one of the richest men in the city. Newspapers called him the untouchable millionaire, a man who flinched at the slightest brush of a hand, who recoiled even from polite gestures, who kept an invisible wall between himself and the rest of the world. No handshakes, no comforting pats, no hugs, not even from doctors. It wasn't arrogance, it was trauma. 25 years earlier, Victor had survived a devastating accident that killed his parents right in front of him. Trapped under wreckage for hours, surrounded by screaming strangers who pulled, grabbed, and dragged him while blood soaked his skin, his mind learned to associate touch with terror. He grew up rich but broken, his heart locking itself away piece by piece. As an adult, he built an empire of steel and glass, surrounded himself with rules, guards, and silence. His mansion was immaculate, vast, and painfully lonely. Staff were instructed to keep distance. Even the doctors who monitored his health spoke from across the room. Then one day, due to a management change, a new maid arrived, Maria, a quiet widow with tired eyes and gentle hands. She followed every rule perfectly, never stepping too close, never making eye contact longer than necessary. With her came her 6-year-old daughter, Sophie, who waited in the staff quarters after school. Sophie was different, bright-eyed, curious, and innocent in a way the mansion had never known. She didn't understand wealth or fear, she understood warmth, smiles, and questions. At first, Victor barely noticed her. But small things began to change. The mansion felt softer. Laughter echoed faintly down hallways. Flowers appeared in vases without instruction. And Sophie, somehow, kept ending up in places she wasn't supposed to be. One afternoon, Victor was sitting alone in the sunroom when he heard a small voice say, "Your house is very quiet." He froze. Sophie stood a few feet away, holding a crayon drawing. Maria rushed in, apologizing profusely, terrified her daughter would be punished. Victor said nothing, just stared. Sophie looked at him without fear, tilting her head. "You look sad," she said. Maria's heart nearly stopped. No one spoke to Victor like that. But instead of anger, something strange happened. Victor felt something crack inside him. He ordered Maria to take Sophie away, yet that night, he couldn't sleep. For the first time in decades, someone hadn't treated him like glass. Days passed. Sophie kept waving at him from afar, leaving little drawings outside his study door. One showed a stick figure man alone under a dark cloud. Another showed the same man with the sun above him. Something inside Victor stirred, painful, unfamiliar. Then came the day that changed everything. Victor collapsed in his office from a panic attack, triggered by a sudden touch when a guard grabbed his arm instinctively. His breathing went wild, memories flooding back, his body shutting down. Staff panicked. Doctors were called. Everyone stayed back, afraid to make it worse. Amid the chaos, Sophie slipped into the room unnoticed. She saw Victor on the floor, shaking, tears in his eyes, a grown man broken and terrified. She didn't know his past. She didn't know his rules. She only knew one thing: someone was hurting. Slowly, gently, Sophie walked up to him and did the unthinkable. She sat beside him and placed her tiny hand on his shaking hand. The room froze. Maria screamed for her to stop. Guards stepped forward. But Victor didn't pull away. He didn't scream. He didn't collapse. Instead, he breathed. For the first time in 25 years, human touch didn't bring pain. It brought calm. Sophie looked at him and whispered, "It's okay. My mama holds my hand when I'm scared." Victor's body stopped trembling. Tears streamed down his face, not from fear, but from release. Years of locked-away pain poured out in silence. No one dared move. When it was over, Victor gently removed his hand, not in panic, but with care. The doctor said something incredible had happened. His vitals stabilized faster than ever before. That night, Victor called Maria into his study. She expected to be fired. Instead, Victor thanked her. He told her about his past. About the accident. About the fear. About the walls. And then he asked something no one ever expected him to ask: "May Sophie visit me, sometimes?" From that day on, the mansion transformed. Sophie became Victor's quiet miracle. She never forced touch again, she didn't need to. Sometimes she just sat near him, sometimes she talked, sometimes she drew. Slowly, Victor allowed more, sitting closer, then a handshake with a doctor, then one day, a brief hug from Maria when she cried. Healing wasn't instant, but it was real. Victor funded trauma recovery centers. He opened his mansion to children who'd been hurt by life too early. And on the anniversary of the accident, he stood in public and hugged Sophie, no fear, no flinch, just gratitude. The man who hadn't allowed touch for 25 years had been healed not by money, not by medicine, but by the innocent courage of a child who chose kindness over fear. This story reminds us that sometimes the smallest hands can heal the deepest wounds, and that love doesn't need permission to change a life. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or made you believe in human kindness again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because more powerful, emotional stories like this are coming, stories that remind us we are never too broken to be healed.